Start with some basics, right? And you know my name. My name is Donatus. I think you may not know, right? My name is Donatus. Okay. What's your name?
Raymond.
Oh, Raymond. Okay. And I know other people, right? You all are beginners for Unix, right? You have not done Unix before, right? So I'm going to give some introduction first about the hard drive structure, right? And then I will introduce volume management, right? So some basics about the hard disk drives, and about the file systems, right? You know, there are different types of hard drives. I'm taking an old hard drive called IDE hard drive and SCSI hard drives for my explanation, okay? So when I take IDE situation, right? Just 5 years ago, right? Or 7 years ago maybe, right? And now you use SATA. SATA is, in SATA every controller, every connection can have only one hard drive, right? But in IDE, if suppose the IDE is built in on the motherboard, we assume that I have two IDEs, right? And then with this IDE, I have a controller. How many hard drives can be connected to this controller? How many hard drives?
Much do you want?
If I use a controller in IDE, this is a controller, we say C0, right? This is a second controller called C1. How many hard drives I can put in each controller?
One.
No, in IDE?
IDE you can put two.
Two, yeah. So I can put one disk here, D0, and I can put another disk here, D1. Sorry, D0, right? In one, I can put only one. This can be target 1, this can be target 2. We can assume like that, right? In the case of, what you are talking about is SATA, right? In this one, we can have only one hard drive. Only one, right? But in the IDE, we can have two hard drives in each, right? In case I want to give a naming convention for each hard drive, I can say this hard drive is connected to what controller? C0, right? And I have two targets here. Let me give a name for these targets. Target 0. The first target is target 0. And the second target is target 1. Okay? So can you tell me what is the address of this particular hard drive? What is the address? What is the logical name?
C0, D0?
No. C0, T1,
Oh, D1.
and so this is a short name, right? In case you are living in Scarborough 705 now, you are in 705, right? So 705 Progress Avenue, Unit 108, Scarborough, something like that, right? An address for that, right? So this type of names are called logical names. Logical names. Computer doesn't understand that. This is for our convenience, right? Right? If I give you address to a postman, he knows how to deliver the letter because it's logical for him. He will find out how to deliver, right? So, if suppose I have a hard drive in this system, right? We assume that this is a Windows machine. This is a Windows machine, okay? So you have already one hard drive in your server, in your system. You have one hard drive. The Windows is installed in second hard drive. First hard drive. And the address of that hard drive we assume is C0. We use this same terminology because we are going to introduce Solaris here, right? So we say C0, T0, and we say D0. This is the address, the first hard drive. Okay? So if I introduce a second hard drive, what would be the address? And if I am connecting to the same controller, what would be the address? Logical address?
C0, D0,
No, same controller I am connecting to.
Same controller.
So it will be C0, D0, sorry,
D0, T1.
T1 and D0. T1 and D0. So I connected the second hard drive in the same controller, right? So I have two hard drives. Windows is running here, and this is a brand new hard drive. How will you make the system understand this hard drive? How will you start using that hard drive? How will you start copying a file in that hard drive? What did you do first? First, you have to make sure the system recognizes that. Okay. So first one is in the case of Windows 7, it is auto. What do you call it? It detects the hard drive automatically, right? How do you call it? Plug and play. Right? So it will detect. So you have to detect the hard drive. In this case, is plug and play. The second one. What is the second thing you will do? You have to. No, Windows. You have to.
Format.
We have to recognize, then we have to format, right? So format means create a new file system. How do you create? By using a utility, format utility, right? It has a built-in format utility in the disk administrator, right? And what is the third thing you do? What is
Partition.
that? Pardon?
Partition.
Create, in this case, when you are creating a new file system, you can decide on size. So the size of the new partition, right? So after creating a new partition, what is the next thing you do?
Load the window.
So you load,
Operating system.
no, operating system is already there in this.
Oh.
So you will mount it. Good morning. So you will,
You're talking about the window.
yeah, Windows. Mount means you create a drive pointer. Drive pointer.
Okay.
Okay. So you create a drive pointer. So these are the 3 steps you do. Okay? Good morning. So these are the 3 steps you do. Right? So you detect the hard drive, then you create a new file system. I'm just using a shortcut, new address. Okay? That means new file system. Right? And then you create a drive pointer. Then what you do, use the drive pointer, and then you copy the files into that. Okay? You know what I mean? Okay. And also, if I take a Windows brand new hard drive, I can create many types of partitions there. What are the different types of partitions I can create here?
So
in
what do you
Windows?
mean by drive pointer? Mean going to what
F
drive is
drive,
going to?
A drive, B
Okay,
drive,
got
C
it.
drive, right? So I will give a drive pointer maybe E drive.
Okay.
Okay?
Drive pointer for.
For the new hard drive.
Okay.
Or for the new file system you create.
Okay.
New file system. It doesn't have to be hard drive, right?
Yeah, because
It may be a part of a hard drive.
one partition has the operating system itself,
Yeah.
right, where the window has loaded, and the second partition you have given for just for their driving for the
Yeah.
file system.
Correct. Yeah. So we have, you understood what I meant, right? My first hard drive may be like this, C drive.
Yeah.
I have no partitions, only one partition, right? So I added a new hard drive, and I wanted to name it as E drive. So when I'm naming it as E drive, I'm using only a part of that. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a portion of that and then changing that to E drive. I'm accessing that as E drive, right? Then I have another portion, I may access that as F drive. I can do that, right? In one particular hard drive, I can have multiple drive pointers, right? Okay. So that is what I am trying to do here, right? So what I was telling is, right, in the older situations, right, when you had ID hard drives, you have an ID motherboard, right, and it has 2 controllers, and I have connected 2 hard drives here. So controller 0, controller 1, 2 controllers, okay? So in the controller 0, we assume that I have 2 targets where I can put 2 hard drives. I name it as T0, T1 for our convenience now, right? And then I attach to a hard drive here, D0, right? That hard drive is only 1. I can't have D1, only 1 hard drive per target here. So this one has a logical name, C0, T1, D0. Right?
What is useful for logical address port? What we use for that
Logical address for us to access. Yeah, but in this situation, I'm just giving an example to explain my lesson, right? But don't worry about that. I will go into details a little later, right? Yeah. So, and also a second step I said, in Windows environment, I have 1 hard drive where the Windows is installed fully. That hard drive is completely occupied, and that hard drive is C drive. Okay? Now I want to add another hard drive because I want to copy my data in a separate hard drive, right? This hard drive is very big, maybe 4 terabytes. So I want to use a portion of that particular hard drive. And I want to have a logical drive letter called E drive, right? So what I did is, I detected the hard drive. In the case of Windows 7, it automatically detects, right? If it doesn't detect, I go to the system disk administrator, and administrative tool, disk administrator, then I can detect it, right? So then I create a new file system, and I decide the space. So I create a new file system in E drive, in that space, part of this, right? Then I give a drive pointer after that, or while doing that, okay? If I use the, there is a utility where you can automatically do, what do you call it? It helps you, huh?
Auto detect? Auto detect?
No, not auto detect, formatting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can automatically format. There's an auto where you can go graphic by graphic, what do you call it? It doesn't come into my head. Right? You can immediately, you do it manually, or if there's a utility, what do you call it? All the programs have that, right? So you can automatically do next, it will automatically do that, right? Okay, so then we have drive pointer E now ready,
Or
okay?
you can go through the right click and then you can format from there.
Yeah, you can do that way also, that is manual. Otherwise you can do a automatic program which is built in utility. You just like say next. Okay.
Like user interface.
Yeah, huh?
User interface.
Yeah. The name didn't come to my head, so when it comes I'll tell you. Okay. That's very common, you know, you have seen that several times, right? So what I'm trying to say is, I'm trying to introduce you something like this in your mind, because you are beginners for Solaris, right? Because we are going to talk about Solaris, Veritas in Solaris, okay? So you understood the concept, how this is used, okay? The logical name. And in the case of Windows, you have found out that we have to detect the hard drive, first step, and the second step is create a file system, and the third step is create a drive pointer, okay? So now we'll come to a situation in Solaris, okay? Pure Solaris, no other volume management used, okay? In the case of Solaris, this is a Solaris hard drive, same as this, okay? So I have C0 and I have C1 in the motherboard of a Spark machine. Maybe this machine has two controllers, C0 and C1.
What
okay?
does the controller does? Like what do you mean? What do you mean by to say controller? Like,
Okay. A hard drive. You got a hard drive. How you are going to connect to the motherboard? Connect into the computer. You have to have some connection. So you connect to a cable. But cable, how will it communicate with the motherboard? So there should be a connection on the motherboard. That is the controller that controls these devices, not necessarily hard drive, CD-ROM, tape drive, anything which is connected. Have you opened hard drive?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just, open a computer?
Yeah.
Yeah, just open a computer, maybe open this one, and you can see it.
Yeah,
right?
so those are blue were.
Don't open the very latest ones.
Okay.
I'm talking about little older technology for me to explain this terminology, right? You can open this, yeah. Okay, so we have, in controller 0, we have how many targets in this example? Two targets, right? So first target is what? T0, T1. If I have another one, I may have T1, T2, T3 and all. Don't worry about that now. So I may have another controller. We don't go into that in detail, right? So we have T0, T1. Now I'm taking a hard drive and attaching to this. So in this hard drive, I am going to install Solaris. What is Solaris? Solaris is a flavor of Unix. Have you heard about Unix? So you had an introduction to Unix also, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So Solaris is a flavor of Unix. Okay. So when I add a hard drive and when I try to install Solaris there, it will create a partition here. That partition is called Solaris partition. I'm talking about a Spark system. Spark system is something which was made by Sun before. Sun Microsystems, right? Now Oracle owns Sun, so Oracle Spark system, okay? So Oracle Spark system, they are powerful systems, right? Good hardware, so that's why companies buy that. They are expensive, but still companies buy that, right? In that particular computer, I have